Green at the guards. Gilliam, Barkley, Mahorn. Up front, Armin Gilliam, who was quiet in the first half, had that shot deflected. Gilliam now 1 for 7.
Same way the Sixers started out the game. Go to Armin Gilliam. Start out this way. The second half, same thing. Jim Lynam must feel that if he can get him off, that's one of the keys for him.
And Armin Gilliam had a very strong series against Milwaukee, averaging 21 a game in the 3-game sweep of the Bucks.
But when you think of the two teams, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Chicago Bulls, the first thing that jumps out is the difference in speed and quickness. The Bucks more of an execution, slow it down type team. Their speed and quickness, if any, is in the backcourt. Their big people slow.
And Pippen opens up by hitting from downtown. It is back to a 20-point lead. Bucks also without Dale Ellis. Jack Sikma was hurting. Hawkins trying to answer with the 3. And the foul called on Paxson.
On the miss, see if Armin Gilliam, well, we don't get a look at him actually putting an arm in the back there, but after he recovers it, Paxson in trying to tie him up, gets a piece of the arm.
Here's Barkley. Oh, what a move by Barkley, and Cartwright is hurt. Off the collision, Cartwright shaken up.
On the drive, Barkley switched hands, went from right to left to finish the play with his left hand, and as Cartwright rotates across to try and take away the middle of the lane, he's caught there by the left arm of Grant. Grant rotates, left arm, keep an eye on it right there. Oof. In the eye-nose area of Bill Cartwright.
So Bill Cartwright, who has dealt out some damage, most of it inadvertent over the course of his career, that time took the accidental poke from his teammate, Horace Grant. And Will Perdue has checked in. Like Horace Grant has shed the goggles.
But by hitting his teammate, he will pass him on over to Bill Cartwright.
He has been wearing the prescription goggles. Running out with the call on Hawkins. That is his 3rd. The Bulls lead at 62-44 with a minute and a half gone by in the 3rd. Michael Jordan to the line.
Perhaps after shooting only 46% in the series against New York. Grant said, let me get rid of these goggles and see if it helps in the next series.
19 for Jordan. And Bill Cartwright apparently all right, getting set to report back. And Cartwright hears the cheers from the crowd. Well, Jordan now 9 for 11 from the line. Again, the one-on-one matchup. No help for Pippen. Now Grant over. And Gilliam has the shot. He is now 1 for 8. And that is a double dribble.
He's just trying too hard. He knows that he struggled during the first half. They come to him again to start the second half. Starts out slowly. He's trying too hard to help this team. He knows they need his help out there.
Armin Gilliam began his NBA career as a #1 draft pick of Phoenix, 2nd selection overall. Last year dealt to Charlotte for Kurt Rambis. Averaged just under 19 a game for the Hornets. Here's Jordan. And then Gilliam obtained in the deal for Mike Jaminski back in January. Here's Barkley, able to penetrate through 3 Chicago Bulls. Paxson stopped by Green. It is a 19-point Chicago lead. 2.5 in. 3rd quarter. Pippen from Cartwright.
When you run the type of offense offense that Chicago does for the entire season. They have a lot of confidence in ball movement. They have a great understanding of the shot clock and how much time is left on it. That time, great example right there. Patience paying off.
Biggest lead of the game, 21-point margin. Green had the uncontested reverse. Paxson going right at Gilliam. The 76ers calling for time.
See your nearest Honda dealer for details of the Accord lease program. By the big taste of Miller Genuine Draft Light. Big draft taste comes to life. And by Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
All right, welcome back to the Dodgers Stadium. This is Ahmad Rashad. During that last timeout, Coach Jimmy Lannon is inserting Ron Anderson for offensive purposes. Too much load on Charles Barkley that needs him offense. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, the 76er bench so strong against the Bucks and very effective during the regular season against the Bulls. But nothing aside from Charles Barkley has worked today. It has been an early knockout delivered by the Bulls, led by as many as 20 in the first half. The Sixers made a run, but the Bulls on a rampage once again. They have outscored the Sixers 17-4 over the last 5 minutes. They've also hit their last 7 field goal attempts. That goes back to late in the second quarter. And here's Anderson. Played very well by Pippen. Hawkins for Barkley.
Even though the Sixers wound up with a score at the end, that was one great stretch of defense by Chicago there. Their rotations were terrific, but good ball movement by the 76ers.
Barkley has 29. You recall the conversation we had. There's a hold on Barkley. That's his 3rd foul. The conversation with Phil Jackson, he mentioned earlier that he felt his club was lackadaisical defensively in the last meeting between these two teams 3 weeks ago. Well, the message has been brought forth very clearly. That has not been the case here today.
No, they want them to know that we can shut you down whenever we want. You're not getting back in this game as Michael Jordan continues down to the low post to just shoot over his opposition.
71-48. Unless there is a miraculous turn by the Sixers, this one is taking on the look of what the New York Knicks ran up against in Game 1 of the Bulls-Knicks series. What a shot by Barkley, who has 31. In Game 1 of the previous series, the Bulls beat the Knicks by 41, the worst loss in the history of the Knicks franchise in playoff competition. Grant. A soft rim here in Chicago. Usually friendly, yes. And Mahorn was stopped. Good play by Pippen to break it up.
Another example of the great recovery. A blind pass. Barkley sees Mahorn under the basket, fires it through the entire defense, yet they recover. Barkley sees Mahorn, fires it. Watch the recovery here. A swipe as 2 Chicago players surround the ball.
Spotting up against Grant. Now Cartwright over to help. Anderson. Ron Anderson has been quiet. He is only 2 for 7.
The guy that the Bulls are leaving alone at the defensive end is Rick Mahorn. They're doubling Barkley with Bill Cartwright, Mahorn's defensive player.
And Mahorn has been no threat. 0 for 2 from the field. Jordan for Grant. Bulls lead 73-52. And Ronnie Nunn indicating illegal defense for the 3rd time today against Chicago.
We're right behind Michael Jordan. There is nowhere for him to go here, and somehow he finds a teammate under the rim. He just has such sensational hang time and the ability to see the entire floor.
And Michael Jordan in command in his matchup with Hersey Hawkins, who will shoot the technical. Bulls by 20 with 6:37 to go in the third. Anderson forced to work hard by Pippen. Here's Barkley splitting through, and he'll go to the line once again. An excellent defensive sequence by the Bulls. Horace Grant was called for his second.
One thing they're going to make Charles do is earn the points. They keep coming at him with the second man. He knows there's somebody behind him, but he's so strong that he's able to split two defensive players. You've got to get to him quickly, and you've got to try and keep a body on him, two bodies on him. That's why Phil Jackson has said, let's double him with big people as much as we can.
Barkley, 11 for 12 for his 32, 11 for 12 from the foul line. And the Bulls now lead 73-55. Chicago Bulls 61-21 during the regular season. Best record in the Eastern Conference. They are the 9th team in NBA history to win 60 games in a season. Michael Jordan with 25. And again, a 20-point Chicago lead.
Jordan down in the hole, posting up, knows he can shoot it over the top of any of these guards that the Sixers have out there.
Paxson over to help, called for the leg block. Sixers get the new 24. Tomorrow, a couple of Game 5s coming your way here on NBC. It'll be Atlanta and Detroit, Indiana and Boston, starting 12:30 Eastern Time with Showtime with Bob Costas and Pat Riley. Down to Game 5 between the Hawks and the Pistons and the Pacers and the Celtics.
Those older teams struggled a little bit, the Pistons and the Celtics.
Anderson. And the Bulls now lead 75-57. What a performance last night by the rifleman, Chuck Person, bringing the Pacers from behind to knock off the Celtics.
Yeah, but if he just adds a little bit of emotion to his game, I think he'll be a little bit better.
Cartwright and Barkley on the rebound. Nice lead for Hawkins. And he was hit, took the hip check from Pippen. That's 2 on Pippen.
The Chicago personal fouls on 33.
Barkley threads the needle by firing through the defense, and I'd say it's a little more than a hip check on that one.
Hersey Hawkins will line his shoot here.
So Hersey Hawkins to the free throw line. He's 3 for 3 from the line. Back to the subject of Boston and Indiana, and we'll be on hand to call that one tomorrow. As Gail Gardner reported on Showtime, Celtic players were disappointed with themselves. They felt they were affected by the crowd at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. The Celtics said they lost their poise last night. How unusual is that to hear?
Well, it's not unusual when you think about the fact that they're experienced, they're veteran guys are the people up front. The ones who have the basketball in their hands the most are the young backcourt people. So perhaps the crowd had an effect on the guards who, in turn, don't get it to the big people when they should, where they should.
And over the last couple of years, Celtics have had difficulty with the Pacers in Indianapolis. Pippen. And again, it's Barkley on the rebound. Here's Barkley, changed his mind. Hawkins for 3. 4.5 to go in the third. Nice pass. Oh! Scottie Pippen with the flip off the dribble for Horace Grant.
There's that communication. You just know where everybody is on your floor when you play those 5 guys together. They've been doing it all year. They just have a certain feel for one another.
Anderson, he was hit up top, according to Hugh Evans.
One of the big pluses, the fact that Pippen can lead a fast break and then has the ability to dish it off to a power forward who runs the floor extremely well in Grant.
Pippen assessed with his 3rd. Bulls lead it by 18. Ricky Green. He is now 1 for 5. It will be 76er ball. Again, Paxson over. And once again, a call for the leg block. Some nice goaltending work by John Paxson.
When you put the ball in a player's hands as much as the 76ers do with Charles Barkley, he makes so many good things happen, but then it's only natural that there are going to be some mistakes. In that series against Milwaukee where he played superbly, he still had 15 turnovers in 3 games, 5 a game.
Anderson forcing, not a good shot. Shot clock still at 13. Here comes Jordan, accelerating for the scoop, and he will go to the line.
I have to laugh because he knows he's drawn the foul. He hears the whistle go off. He's up in the air trying to hang there, and then somehow he will invent a way to get the shot up. This time, after crossing over, getting back into the lane, he's going to flip this with his right hand underneath with reverse spin at the last second.
Foul called on Mahorn, his 3rd. Michael Jordan during the regular season averaged 31.5 to win the NBA scoring crown for the 5th straight season. He shot a career-high 54%. 27 for Jordan. It's the Bulls 79. 76ers 59. Light pressure by Chicago. Now they go to the trap. And Ricky Green threw it off the leg of Ron Anderson, leading to the turnover. Here's Jordan. Foul by Mahorn.
And who else would you expect to come up with the loose ball other than Michael Jordan? He just seems to be around the ball at all times. He's got those huge hands, and if it's there for him to pick up, he'll find a way to get his hands in. He just kind of pins it on the floor, will eventually find a handle, and then head into dangerous territory with Mahorn in pursuit.
Mahorn called for his 4th, and he takes a seat. Manute Bol has returned. Manute played 12 minutes in the first half. Rick Mahorn has had a long afternoon, has not scored, only 1 rebound. Andre Turner is back, replacing Ricky Green.
The 76ers are not a big team. They're a small front line when you talk about height, and then they're not a real good rebounding team, ranking in the bottom 4 or 5 teams in team rebounds this season versus a team in Chicago who's strong in the glass.
And they have now reached the point where they have gotten destroyed by the pressing defense of the Bulls. They have not been able to handle it. Phil Jackson will only use it in spots. He'll flash it at him, and it's been very effective.
Yeah, this flash has been a long flash, I tell you that. He found something good. He likes what he sees. He's going to stay with it.
Jordan. 81-59, Chicago, with 2:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And we may be headed to extensive garbage time. It has been a blowout by the Bulls. Barkley thought he was fouled. Here's Jordan. Barkley remaining down court. Hit by Pippen. And the Bulls take a timeout. Pippen called for his 4th. 2:11 remaining in the 3rd.
You wouldn't dream of lying out in the sun all day without some protection.
Michael Jordan leading the Bulls this afternoon with 29 points. However, in the previous series against the Knicks, he had lesser stats than usual, kind of on the low-key side, and we talked about it earlier with Michael.
Yeah, I guess as a leader, you got to find different ways to try to get yourself involved in the game. And I think with this team, it's very important to get everybody else involved, get their minds certainly feeling that they can make a contribution to this team. I feel that at any point in time I can step up and give my contribution. But I'd much rather see them give that output, and then maybe I can help them out in any way possible. So this series, I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to look around and see what these guys are going to do and see if they're going to step up and give us that offensive output and defensive output, and then just try to implement my skills somewhere in between.
Well, Michael does have his 29, but the Bulls have received a good balance. 20 for Scottie Pippen, 14 for Bill Cartwright, 10 points scored by Horace Grant. And the Bulls with an 81-59 trouncing of the Philadelphia 76ers with 2:11 remaining in the third. It's been only Charles Barkley doing it for the Sixers. Rare miss from the line. He's now 12 out of 14 from the foul line. Problem is, Charles just isn't expressive enough. You get that idea?
He's so good in the time you spent with him yesterday. He was so good in that interview session.
I think he is right now, as the Sixers go to the trap and they have Purdue bottled up. Here's Hodges. I think Barkley is the best athlete in all of sports in terms, as Grant hits on the reverse. Bulls lead it 83-60 in terms of what he says, and also from the entertainment point of view in what is being said.
So you've got him basically on the
number one
all-interview MVP. That's it, right?
Will Purdue on the foul. Absolutely, Mike. I'm not only talking NBA, I'm talking throughout sports, because he is so honest. Certainly the 76er front office at times wishing that he were not that candid, but from the radio television point of view, it is most unusual to have a professional athlete react the way he does. Percy Hawkins sitting down. Robert Reed is back. And Manute Bol is now 2 out of 3. Now 3 for 4 from the line.
Another guy who's a pretty good interview, Manute Bol. Kind of interesting.
He's avoidable in it. One-liners, some of which you didn't get, but we understand that, Mike. Bulls lead at 83-62. Minute and a half left in the third. Greg Hodges shooting. Barkley going behind the back. Does it again on Hodges. Now Grant over to help. Crowd yelling to shoot. And Manute hits it, but it won't count. It is a traveling violation.
Jimmy Lynam can't believe that. He's saying, what did he do other than take the same 2 steps that Michael Jordan takes when he finishes the play?
What did he do? He traveled, Mike. Purdue over to set the screen. And Jordan goes to the left hand. That shot altered by Bol. And now he's fouled. It's called on Grant. That is his third. The Bulls over the limit. So again, Manute to the line.
And Chicago likes to hang in on the rebound. They're trying to force some turnovers after the defensive team secures the basketball. This time they triple team Manute.
And Manute is on fire at the foul line. 4 out of 5. Only a 58% free throw shooter. 83-63 Bulls as we close out the third. Usual capacity crowd here in Chicago. 184th consecutive sellout. Hodges.
But that time, they used Manute Bol's man to set the screen on the dribble handoff. Manute jumped out, different from the first half, and challenged the shot. The result, a miss.
Sixers working the clock down. Andre Turner wanted a minute away from the paint. 3 on the 24. Turner. We're down to 10 seconds to go in the quarter. So the Sixers get a second possession out of it. Turner try to hand off to Anderson, who fires. After 3, here in Chicago, it's the Bulls 83, the 76ers 63. We'll be right back after these messages and a word from your local station. It has been strictly a celebration of the Chicago Bulls, who lead the Philadelphia 76ers 83-63 as we head to the fourth quarter in game 1 of the best of 7. Chicago Bulls getting the balance scoring, led by Michael Jordan, who has 29. Coming up next, game 5 between the Seattle Supersonics and the Portland Trailblazers. Dick Enberg and Steve Jones will bring it to you. And tomorrow, another big day of playoff basketball on NBC, opening with Indiana and Boston, starting with Showtime with Bob and Pat at 12:30. That'll be game 5. Pacers and Celtics looking to advance. And on Showtime, a close-up look at one of the heroes of the series for the Indiana Pacers, Chuck Person. Chuck, a man who never saw a microphone he did not like. Kind of like yourself. Likes to talk on and off the court. Will Perdue lost it. And a tripping foul on the Bulls as Turner was sent flying. Chuck Person would be on my all-interview team also.
I kind of had a feeling you liked him.
I said that affectionately also. It could be pointed out as you see the trip called on B.J. Armstrong.
Have you ever said anything affectionately?
Of course. Chuck would understand.
Yeah.
83-63, a 20-point Bulls as Robert Reed connects on his first field goal attempt. Pippen, yes. And the Bulls lead again by 20. Charles Barkley with 34 points and 11 rebounds. Right now getting a rest. But you look at some of the... Oh, there's Manu.
He feels it today.
Yes. He has 6 points. Strange reaction from the crowd. They don't accept that shot.
And they've taken 2 points away from him already. I mean, this could be an 8-point afternoon.
Armstrong goes again by 20. Look at the rest of the Sixers shooting. Armin Gilliam, 1 for 8. Percy Hawkins, 2 for 9. Rod Anderson, 3 for 10. Andre Turner, zip for 6. Ricky Green, 1 for 5. It has been horrendous. Hodges off the steal.
But the first 3 guys you mentioned, Gilliam, Hawkins, Anderson, those are the 3 guys besides Barker that they count on for scoring. 6 for 27 between them. They're not going to get it done that way.
Phil Jackson telling us yesterday that the matchup he was most concerned about, aside from Barkley, there's a steal by Grant. Armstrong looking for Pippen. Takes it himself, and he drew the foul. It's on Turner. The matchup Jackson was most concerned about was Ron Anderson, who's come off the bench on a number of occasions to hurt the Bulls, but not the case today.
Well, the defensive intensity and concentration today by Chicago, keying in on the main guys outside of Barkley that they had to stop, has been sensational. As soon as Anderson came on the floor, you could see Pippen just right up close on him. There were going to be no easy shots for him today. The same with Jordan, as we showed earlier in that replay, concentrating against Hawkins.
And Michael Jordan and Bill Cartwright and John Paxson sitting it out. Phil Jackson going to the bench. Stacey King up front now with Will Perdue and Scottie Pippen. B.J. Armstrong, Craig Hodges at the guards. And again the pressure by the Bulls. Gilliam for Reed. Turner facing the double team. Able to get across the timeline and go all the way. Rebounded by Purdue. And he kicked it out. It'll be a Sixer ball. But first, a timeout taken with 9:45 left in the fourth quarter.
If I could afford a sports sedan, the road would belong to me. Bob, I'd have one of those multi-valve engines, independent suspension, and of course, a spoiler on the back. Yeah, if I could afford a sports sedan, life would be a cruise.
Oh, it's you, Bob. Presenting the Nissan Sentra SER, because rich guys shouldn't have all the fun.
Because if you don't watch your figure, who will?
It's the right beer now.
Because when it comes to water, the only place to start is at the top.
It's the right beer now.
Because when the party's going full steam, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the beer that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet.
Coors Light, it's the right beer now.
휴가 중 전화를 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다.
Mr. Herbert, Mr. Kim says it's kind of you to call him during your vacation.
No problem.
뱅뱅 도는 은빛 미끼를 사용하시면 송어를 많이 잡을 수 있다고 하는데요.
He also says lake trout go crazy for silver spinners.
Getting an AT&T interpreter in the middle of nowhere is just one of the ways AT&T can help you. It's all in the cards. How can we help you?
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. By Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. And by the employee owners of Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
This is the scene last Saturday at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, and the NBA continuing its investigation into the water-throwing incident. Several of the 76ers were engaged in a brief wet battle with fans behind their bench as the game is about to go into overtime. According to a leaked source, there are not expected to be any suspensions. Reportedly, some fans threw water at the 76ers bench. Some of the 76ers did the same. It is not clear who threw first. We asked Charles Barkley about it last night. Well, here are some well-prepared fans, just in case Charles had a notion in their direction. But we asked Charles last night about the water-throwing incident. He said, well, some of the fans who threw the cups of water should receive citations for fines. Apparently, Barkley received a citation from the city of Milwaukee.
Some people will just never allow you to put things behind you.
Are you talking about our production staff? And it's tipped home. Manute Bol with his second field goal. He has 8, and the Bulls with a 91-69 lead. 3 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Pippen. He got the step on Bol.
And he was going to make sure that Manute didn't get him from behind by throwing it down with one hand.
Scottie Pippen has scored 24. And the Bulls lead by 24. Reed. Anderson. Pippen off the steal. And Armstrong was looking for Purdue.
He was looking for that trailer coming down the floor. Took his eyes off the ball, lost the feel for it, turned it over. But to be sure that Manute doesn't get a piece, just put it down inside the net. Then you got a pretty good chance of scoring.
Anderson trying to work off the pick. Pippen right with him. Bol to the hook again. Manute Bol with 10 points. He's hit 2 hook shots, or as Jim Lynam was telling us, he refers to him as a flip shot, but that upsets Manute, and now he says, well, yes, it is a hook.
But seriously, yesterday, Jim Lynam did tell us that the team has more confidence now in throwing Manute the basketball. They feel that he can give him a score, and they feel that at the same time he's a pretty good passer.
Philadelphia, personal foul.
Let's check out the form on this hook shot by Manute. Jump hook, half turn.
Very elegantly described. Robert Reed called for the foul to put Stacey King at the line. Robert Reed began this season playing in Italy, and then it was Tulsa in the CBA. He signed with the 76ers 2 weeks ago, appeared in the final 3 games of the regular season. So even at his stage, 13 years in the NBA, he was willing to give it a shot. Played in Europe, then the CBA, and has made it back to the NBA.
The Sixers have had so much respect now for the defense by the Chicago Bulls as Reed misses a jumper that they have gone to a motion passing game here in the 4th quarter.
It's a 4-on-2. Hodges for 3. Yes. Greg Hodges, winner of the NBA's three-point shooting competition at All-Star Weekend. It's his first from downtown this afternoon, and the Bulls lead by 26. A rare bucket for Armin Gilliam. It is only his 2nd field goal. He has 5.
It's tough to have everybody grouped up on the low box area and have the offense work the way you'd like it to. With Bull there, you can isolate him up high. Barkley's out of the game right now, so the box now belongs back to Armin Gilliam.
Good play by Gilliam on the deflection. Here's Turner. Bulls lead it 97-75.
The one guy that Phil Jackson leaves on the floor with this unit is Scottie Pippen. Give it the stability that it needs to continue to perform.
Armstrong matched with Turner. Oh, got away with the palm. And that is rejected by Bull. And here's Gilliam. Turner on the recovery is fouled by Armstrong.
Chicago.
The Bulls take a timeout with 6:20 left in the 4th.
The team's second.
Todd, the mysterious murder of Thelma Todd on NBC Sunday.
Why not?
Manute Bol with 10 points. That is a season high. He played in all 82 games this season and had not scored in double figures until today, featuring 2 jump hooks. Coming up next, following the Sixers and the Bulls, it'll be Game 5, Seattle and Portland. The winner goes on to face Utah in round 2. Sean Kemp and the red-hot Eddie Johnson and the Seattle Supersonics against Clyde the Glide and friends and the Portland Trailblazers.
I'm sure that trade will be questioned for a long time. The Xavier McDaniel, Eddie Johnson trade. Phoenix being knocked out, Seattle still having a chance to move on here. Very interesting. You can get into a lot of debates about that one.
Well, Charles Barkley had the hot hand. He was a one-man operation, and he is sitting it out right now. Charles, despite the knee injury, hitting 10 of 13 for his 34 points. Looks like Charles also may have a headache.
Yeah, he's got a 20-point headache right now.
Yes, the Bulls 97 and the 76ers 77 as we come up on 6 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Phil Jackson staying with Armstrong and Hodges at the guards. Pippen, Purdue, and King up front. Shot clock at 2. Purdue gets it off. '76ers with Gilliam, Anderson, and Cole on the front line. Reed and Turner at the guards. Armin Gilliam. And Purdue able to hustle it down. They may wonder, why is Gilliam still on the floor? I would think from Jim Lynam's point of view, as Hodges tries the three-pointer, he's just trying to get Gilliam back into it. He had a very poor game, and I think he's looking ahead as Turner beats his man and draws the foul. I think Jim is looking at game number 2 because he'd like to see Armin put up some better stats to end this one.
Well, with the group he has on the floor right now, there's only one guy that they can go to down low for scores, and that's Gilliam. So it's a good move here to try and build his confidence back up. Let's see if we can get him going here down the stretch. Maybe it'll carry over in game 2.
Gilliam is 2 for 10 from the field. Andre Turner and hit his first 4 at the free throw line. And the Bulls now lead at 97-78. This reminiscent of how the Bulls came out against the Knicks in their first round, although in game 1 they clobbered the Knicks by 41. This one had the makings of a extensive garbage time back in the second quarter when they opened up a huge lead. They led by 20 in the first quarter. The Sixers shooting has been horrendous right throughout.
It may be hard for some people to believe that there is a carryover effect from year to year, that teams don't remember and learn lessons from the year before, but the Bulls certainly seem to be on a mission. They learned well from last season.
Armstrong held by Turner. Well, a year ago in the playoffs, Chicago Bulls defeated Milwaukee 3-1. Then they beat Philadelphia in 5 and lost to Detroit in 7. The Pistons have eliminated the Bulls from the playoffs 3 straight years.
Who do you think the Bulls are rooting for in the matchup?
Yes,
coming up, Atlanta.
Why, I think it's your former ball club, Mike. The Atlanta Hawks and the Detroit Pistons meeting in a 5th and final game tomorrow as part of our twin bill, opening up with Boston and Indiana. How did you fellas fare against the Bulls last couple of years?
Up until last season, we the Hawks almost almost slipped that we in there. Up until last season, the Hawks had played the Bulls extremely well. Last season, they whitewashed the Bulls and shut them out.
It's 98-78 Chicago. They have maintained the huge lead. Manute has gone hook shot mad.
The guy can't get a roll.
Manute always enjoying the action. We're down to 4 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Hanging in. Very few have departed. Here's Hodges. Had it knocked away. Turner able to remain in bounds. Anderson had it batted by Pippen. And again, a kick ball is called. So they get the new 24. And now, apparently, Phil Jackson feels it is safe to send Scottie Pippen to the sideline, and he empties the bench. That's Dennis Hobson getting set to check in. Another outstanding day for Pippen. Leads with 24 points, 6 rebounds. Dennis Hobson along with Scott Williams checking in. Both rarely used. Scott Williams, a rookie free agent out of North Carolina. Dennis Hobson has been on the disappointing side since coming over in the trade from the Nets. Now we're getting wild here. Wait a second. Two-hand over-the-head shot by Manute.
Fadeaway. You forgot to mention fadeaway on there.
Ball has hit his season high of 10. He's 3 for 6 from the field. Turner on the steal. And puts the move on King, who draws the foul. Now the 76ers with substitutions. Brian Oliver, rookie from Georgia Tech, a second-round draft pick, and Dave Hobson. Here's Dave, a four-year man from Nebraska, checking in with 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter.
Another former Atlanta Hawk, Dave Hoppin.
They are all over the map.
All over the place.
Dave Hoppin, originally a third-round pick of Atlanta back in '86, and he was acquired from Charlotte in the Armin Gilliam, Mike Jaminski trade.
A young man who had been projected to be a high first-round draft pick coming out of college and then wrecked his knee, tore it, and he was still hanging around there in the third round. The Hawks thought it would be a good gamble and drafted Dave. Nice to see him go to Charlotte and eventually play well, and now the 76ers pick him up.
Bulls by 18. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the ball game. Here's Williams off the head fake. Scott Williams matched with the rookie from St. John's, Jason Williams, who just came on. That's Jason Williams. And the Bulls lead it 98-82. So you're saying there could be a carryover effect to game 2 on Monday night coming off this kind of blowout.
Carryover effect for who?
Negative for the Philadelphia 76ers.
The 76ers will see this film a number of times before the next game and will be reminded by Jim Lynam that they will have to come out and assert themselves a little bit harder and quicker in the next game.
Hobson fouled by Oliver. We'll be back in a moment.
Sometimes I dream I'm in Italy, driving this incredible sports car, and my boss is there. He says,
"We need a ride to the shareholders meeting."
Now, here's where it gets weird. The sports car has 4 doors. I mean, there's no such thing as a 4-door sports car. It's just a dream, right?
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sports Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
The average soda drinker likes to play records.
Give it up!
The average Minute Maid orange soda drinker likes to break them. The big orange taste of Minute Maid orange soda, the official soft drink of the NBA.
When you own your own business, you sweat every detail.
Avis is the only major rent-a-car company owned by its employees, and they're trying harder with a 49-step quality control program to give you a well-maintained car. Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
An innocent girl, a crazed kidnapper, a community enraged. David Soul stars in the chilling true story, Cry in the Wild, on NBC Monday.
Back in Chicago as we wind down today's Miller Genuine Draft Player of the Game, Michael Jordan. And on behalf of Michael, NBC and Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Superb all-around game for Jordan. 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and he did it at both ends of the court.
Once again, doing what he had to do to get his teammates involved, and if they needed him, he was there to give them the scoring, to give them the defense. He's got a great feel for the game right now and where this team is and what they need to do to be successful in the playoffs.
Well, Dennis Hobson gets on the scoreboard as he hits his first of 2 from the foul line. Jason Williams with the rebound. Thanks, as always, to our producer, Tommy Roy, director, Andy Rosenberg, the master of the stat sheet, Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb. As we come up on 2 minutes remaining of the game, here's Oliver, and he was hacked by Hobson. Both clubs have emptied the bench. A long day for the Philadelphia 76ers. Only Charles Barkley able to come through 10 for 13, but look at the rest of those stats.
In the point guard spot, 2 for 13 between Ricky Green, Andre Turner, an area where Phil Jackson expressed to us yesterday he had a deep concern, was going to pay special attention to that area, and they certainly did today.
And it led to a brutal shooting performance by the Sixers at 34%. Show you how far this game was out of hand. The Bulls had a 10-point lead or more for the entire contest except for 6 minutes. Armstrong giving Chicago a 101-84 lead. And as bad as a 17-point deficit is at this point, Williams rejected and then able to hit. It seems much worse than this.
You got the feeling today that the Bulls were never really threatened by the 76ers. They didn't have enough weapons out here today to really do the damage they had to if they were going to win this game. And Chicago just gained or regained control of the tempo, momentum, whatever they wanted to.
High point man of the game, Jordan 29, Pippen 24. Cartwright came out strong. That was a significant factor for the Bulls. He had 14, Grant with 12, Barkley leading Philadelphia with 34, and then you have to look down the list. Hobson fouled by Oliver. After Barkley, you have 10 points apiece for Hawkins and Bol. Once again, Dennis Hobson to the line. He came to Chicago on the eve of the draft. Acquired from the New Jersey Nets for a #1 draft pick. Turned out to be Tate George, plus second-round picks in 91 and 92.
And they were hoping that Hobson would be a player that when they sit Michael Jordan down, they'd have another guy who could explode in scoring, a guy who had some size in the guard position like Michael does, a guy who had been a scorer before he came here. Since the trade, Dennis Hobson has not given him what they expected from that position.
Coming up next, fifth and final game between Seattle and Portland. Nick Enberg, Steve Jones will bring it to you from Portland. Oh, Jason Williams supplying some instant offense. Makes the score more respectable, but this is one that the Sixers were not in throughout the second half. Michael Jordan set out the entire fourth quarter. The pull-up by Turner. And the Bulls now lead 103-90. And as you see, we are down to 40 seconds remaining. In effect, it has been a coronation of the Chicago Bulls. Stacey King on the putback. Bulls 105, 76ers 90.
Well, at least the fans here are fair. When Stacey does something they don't like, they boo. When he does something well, they cheer for him.
So time running down, 20 seconds to go. And the Bulls hearing it from the crowd. Livingston fires. Hoppin with the rebound. Williams lost it to Livingston. Gets it off. Defeat the Philadelphia 76ers by the score of 105-92 in game one of the best of 7. With game 2 coming up here in Chicago on Monday night. Charles Barkley with 34 points. Michael Jordan with 29. We'll be back to wrap it right after these messages.
Wouldn't it be great if instead of being in hot water with your boss, you were in warm water, in the Caribbean, and swimming toward you was a beautiful fish? No, it was a woman, and yes, she had beer, Keystone. The premium gold-filtered beer in a can that tastes like beer in a bottle because of Keystone's specially lined can. And wouldn't it be great if you told your boss to take that job and sure, I'll have another? Keystone and Keystone Light, bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
If I had a Z, it'd be silver. No, black. And I'd take it to a racetrack. Hold it. Nah, drive it cross country. That's what I'd do. Wait, Germany. Yeah, now that'd be epic. Running a Z flat out on the Autobahn. Too bad you can't drive to Europe.
Who's got the marketing plan? I do. Sales forecast?
Right here.
Presentation boards?
Murphy's got them.
Where's Murphy?
This is the final boarding call for Delta Flight 6.
Maddie Klein knows careers are riding on Delta flights.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes. We better go.
Nobody told me you had a cast.
Nobody knew.
Passengers should now be on board.
Maybe that's why more business people fly Delta than ever before.
Mr. Murphy, you have a nice trip.
Thanks. Already had one.
Delta, we love to fly and it shows.
The Portland Trailblazers, the Seattle Supersonics, their fifth and decisive encounter. Do or die. Next.
Back in Chicago in a wipeout, the Chicago Bulls over the Philadelphia 76ers, 105-92 in Game 1 of the best of 7. Marv Albert with Mike Fratello and Ahmad Rashad saying so long. Bob and Pat coming up, followed by Portland and Seattle in Game 5.